Standing by, Senator Greg Tarver. Hey, Mr. Greg, welcome back to KEEL. How are you today?
Fine. How are you all doing?
Good. Well, you sent a letter to the governor, but hang on just a second. Let's start here. As the transition to Ochsner as the operators of LSU Medical School and University Health gets underway, there's going to be, is it an advisory board? Tell us about the board that the governor will appoint.
Well, I don't think the governor will appoint any of them. I think he would have influence to appoint them. I think LSU is going to appoint them in Baton Rouge. And the board is supposed to consist of community people and doctors. It's going to be one or two boards. It's going to more than likely be something like a board of governors and one control board that controls operation every day of the hospital and LSU, the activities between the doctors.
Now, one of the names, pardon me, Greg, one of the names being floated is Steve Scrivanos with Biomedical Research Foundation, or formerly so. And you sent a letter to the governor in no uncertain terms,
opposing his appointment.
I mean, this was like a fireworks letter. Why was that?
Well, number one, Ochsner said at first that BRF would not have anything to do with the new concern at all, and all of a sudden they changed. Putting Steve Scrivanos on the board is just like divorcing your wife, turn around and remarry, then move your ex-wife in with you all. That is just bad.
But if
business, they did a bad job.
If Ochsner changed the way they looked at it, why is that? Why is that? Dare I use the word offensive to you?
Well, it's offensive because you don't reward people for doing a bad job. You reward people for doing a good job. You don't give medals to people who lost. You give medals to people who win. Steve Scrivanos will be BRF, and they did a very, very poor job, and they're still doing a poor job at LSU.
Senator Greg Tarver, he sent us this response to your letter, and let me read this to you real quick. BRF representation on the 8-person hospital governing board would bring historical perspective of system operations and a wealth of community insight that is important for a successful transition. That historical perspective and the transition, do you see some merit to that at all?
None whatsoever. Historic, from my standpoint, what Steve Scrivanos means is bringing a bad job to the present situation. They've been doing a bad job at BRF. Why should we reward them by putting them on a board? Why don't we bring people in who know what they're doing with a new perspective from the community that really represent the community? Steve Scrivanos don't represent the community. By
sending a letter to the governor, you kind of went right to the top right away, right? I mean, what do you want the governor to do?
Well, let me tell you something. The governor do have influence in this situation, and I want to make sure that he understands that the people in the community that I know do not want Steve Scrivanos at all, because he just not fit for that board. You need to bring someone fresh on, someone know about the real community of Shreveport. Steve don't know about the community, not the community that is served by LSU.
Has the governor responded to you yet, Greg?
Well, we still having discussion.
Okay. I got this from his office this morning that said we're in the middle of negotiations and we'll be happy to discuss once the agreement is finalized. What kind of timetable are we looking at for getting this board named?
Well, I don't really know. I think that we have a special meeting more than likely in September, the 11th or the 20th, to look at everything. The thing must be ratified by the CEA, must be ratified by LSU Board of Supervisors first.
You also
then come to the joint budget.
You also sent him a letter comparing Shreveport and the Monroe facilities. Why is that so critical? You want our hospital treated more equitably?
Well, the reason why, in my conversation with him, he's talked about they're on level fields, and they're not on level fields. They are approximately 25% of Shreveport. That's just like comparing a mold on your body to a mountain. And it's a big difference.
And yet, on the other hand, a lot of BRF people, and Scrivanos specifically, have said for years that the funding is inequitable. Isn't that the same thing you're saying now?
Well, no, I'm saying that we do need more funds, all of the partnerships need more funds. I'm not saying that exactly. All the partnerships need more funds. We're still having to study in which ones in Louisiana are getting a little bit too much more money than the other ones. We're still dealing with that right now.
Senator Tarver, how confident are you that Ochsner will come in and do the job that needs to be done? And what are some of the things you're going to watch for to make sure they're doing it right?
Well, let me say this to you. They're good operators. It's very clear they're good operators. They run about 26 hospitals in Louisiana. They're very good. My problem is protecting LSU Med School. How you protect LSU Med School, number one, by making sure they do not have a 10-year contract. Let them have a 5-year contract with an option. You don't know what will happen 2 years from now, like we did not know what will happen between BRF and LSU 2 years ago. And what's happening, we don't want to be locked into a marriage that we cannot get a divorce.
Mr. Gregg, a couple of years ago, 3 years ago or so, you didn't have so many. You had some unkind things to say about Ochsner. What was it that they did that softened your stance?
Well, number one, I looked into the operation. I visited a couple of the hospitals. I talked to the senators that represent the hospitals that they have. My only concern ever with Ochsner is not the operation. Is I don't want someone from South Louisiana to come up here and control our destiny. That is my biggest problem. They are good operators. I just want them to stay in their place over in the hospital and let LSU run LSU.
Just to set the record straight, as it were, is your opposition to Steve Scrivanos, would you oppose anybody who at any point represented BRF, or is this something a little more personal?
Oh, no, it's not personal. None of this is personal. My only concern is to protect the integrity of LSU Med School. I've been doing it for the last 29 years. I'm going to continue to do it. I don't have anything personal. Don't know Steve that well, by the way, but I know what type of operator he is, and he's not a good operator of a hospital. He might be a good engineer, but he's not a good operator of a hospital.
State Senator Gregg Tarver, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.